Zikhona first met Thabo on a Sunday she never forgot. It was early summer in Durban, and the air was thick with heat and sweat and gospel music. The regional youth event had pulled young people from all over KwaZulu-Natal, girls in press skirts and church heels, boys showing off fresh haircuts and cologne. Some were there for Jesus, but most were also there to see and be seen. Zikhona had just finished ushering for the morning session and was sipping warm box juice under a jacaranda tree when she heard the MC say, "And now, please welcome our guest speaker, Brother Thabo Dube." The tent erupted into applause. And then he walked out. Tall. Impossibly tall. Smooth brown skin. White linen shirt, sleeves rolled up, exposing toned arms and a gold wristwatch that glinted when he moved. His pants were tailored, shoes polished, smile disarming. He didn't need the mic, but he took it like it belonged to him. And when he started to speak, the tent fell silent. He preached about purpose, about choosing excellence, about being a man after God's heart and an architect of your own destiny. Zikhona found herself drawn in. Not to the words, she'd heard those before, but to the control. The way he owned the stage. The crowd. The atmosphere. He was magnetic. Confident. Polished. Too polished. She noticed the subtle things. The way he name-dropped his job, electrical engineer in Joburg, on projects that made millions. The way he quoted scripture with dramatic pauses, watching the crowd respond like he was testing their obedience. The way the girls in the front row giggled too much, and he didn't mind it. Still, when he stepped off the stage and walked directly up to her, Zikhona's heart jumped. "Miss Zikhona, I remember you." She blinked. "You do? King's High Science Quiz. 2 years ago. You ran it. You were terrifying," he laughed. She laughed too, in spite of herself. "Wow. That's a memory. You made an impression," he said. That was the beginning. By Tuesday, he had found her on Facebook. By Thursday, he was texting a "Good morning, Queen" at 6 a.m. By the next Sunday, he was calling her on video, praying with her before bed. He never rushed her. Never disrespected her boundaries. He talked about God, purpose, legacy. He told her she was not like other women. Zikhona had dated before. Messy boys. Lazy boys. Cheaters. One guy who borrowed her car and disappeared for a weekend. But Thabo, he had a job. A vision board. A tithe record. And when he flew down to visit, he brought flowers for her mother and took her siblings out for lunch. Everyone was obsessed with him. "You've hit the jackpot, my girl," her aunt said. "He's the kind of man you pray for," her pastor told her. Even her father, usually suspicious of every man, told her, "This one's serious. Don't mess it up." But Zikhona had doubts. Small ones. Quiet ones. Like the time she mentioned her male colleague, Mr. Khumalo, during a phone call and Thabo went silent. A few minutes later, he casually asked, "Is he married?" Then added, "Do you guys text each other after school?" Or the day he visited her at work and introduced himself to every staff member, but made a point to squeeze Mr. Khumalo's hand too hard in the handshake. Or how he once told her, "You're very expressive. You might intimidate men without realizing it." She laughed it off. Then he said, more firmly, "Try to speak less in public. Let your presence speak." That's how Proverbs 31 women move. She pushed back once. He got quiet for 2 days. When he came back, he said, "I'm just trying to cover you. You've been so independent for so long, I know it's hard to let a man lead. But I'm here to love you. That's all." And something in her stomach twisted. But the voices in her life were louder. You're too picky, Zikhona. He's everything you prayed for. You're almost 30. Do you want to die alone with a cat? When he proposed 6 months later, with a diamond ring in front of a church crowd, Zikhona said yes. Partly because she wanted to. Mostly because she didn't want to be the girl who said no to the perfect man. The wedding was the kind people post on Instagram for months. Green and gold. Hundreds of guests. A flower arch. A 4-tier cake. People cried during their vows. God has written such a beautiful love story, the MC said. But God hadn't written what happened that night. They checked into their honeymoon suite in Bolito just after 8 p.m. Zikhona was tired. Nervous. Excited. She took a long shower and came out in her old varsity swimsuit, a modest one-piece. She smiled at him shyly. Thabo stared at her like she had slapped him. You're wearing that? She laughed, unsure. He didn't. He walked over, grabbed her arm, hard. You think I paid bride price for you to show up looking like someone's teenage niece? Do you know how many men would die to see what I see, and this is what I get? Zikhona whispered, Thabo, please. The slap came so fast it didn't register until she tasted blood in her mouth. He didn't apologize. He didn't explain. He went out to the balcony and smoked. She sat on the edge of the bed, shaking. That night, when he climbed into bed next to her, he didn't hold her. Just whispered, don't make me feel disrespected again. I don't like it. Zikhona didn't tell anyone. What would she say? My perfect husband hit me? The one her father toasted? The one who gave her mother flowers? She told herself it was stress. That it wouldn't happen again. It did. Back in Joburg, they moved into a townhouse in Midrand. She taught grade 11 English. He worked long hours on solar projects. From the outside, they were perfect. But inside the house, Thabo controlled everything. He made her delete WhatsApp groups. Read all her messages. Checked her school calendar. Called during lessons and demanded she pick up. At first, she resisted. He told her she was being disobedient. That other women submit to their husbands. When she tried to go to dinner with her old friends, he said, married women don't hang with single girls. You're not one of them anymore. She stopped arguing. At school, people noticed. She was tired. Quiet. Eyes puffy. Snapping at kids. Always on her phone. Whispering. Explaining herself. The headmaster called her in. Everything okay at home? She nodded. Smiled. Lied. One colleague, Thembika, didn't buy it. You don't have to say anything, she told her one day in the parking lot. But I know what fear looks like. I used to be married too. Zikhona laughed nervously. I'm fine, she said. But that night, she went home and cried in the bathroom with the tap running so Thabo wouldn't hear. The beating started small. A push. A shove. A slap. Then came the apologies. The roses. The, baby, I just love you too much, I'm scared to lose you. Then came the bruises on her arms. Her thighs. Her ribs. She started wearing long sleeves, even in summer. Her mother noticed a black eye once during a visit. Zikhona said she bumped into a cupboard. Her mother raised an eyebrow. Then said, you've always been clumsy. Zikhona tried to open up once. Mentioned to her sister that things weren't as happy as they seemed. Her sister rolled her eyes. You've always been dramatic. You finally got a good man and now you want to sabotage it? Just humble yourself. So she shut up. Thabo started showing up at her school unannounced. Once, he cornered a male teacher in the staff room. "You enjoy chatting with my wife at lunch?" "Nay," he said, smiling. The man didn't come near her again. No one did. Eventually, Thabo cut her off from everyone. Even her own family, who had become his fans, began to side with him in every fight. Zikhona was alone. Just her. And him. And the four walls of that apartment. Then she got pregnant. At first, she thought maybe this would change things. Maybe fatherhood would soften him. He laughed in her face. "Are you sure it's mine? Or is it the headmaster's? I saw you talking to him during break last week." She cried. He beat her. Harder than before. The night she nearly died, she was 6 months pregnant. They fought about eggs. She forgot to buy them on her way home. He screamed. Pushed her. Punched her. Kicked her in the stomach. Again. And again. And again. She collapsed. He stood over her, breathing heavily. Then, without a word, he grabbed his keys and left. Zikhona lay bleeding on the cold tile floor. The baby wasn't moving. Her vision blurred. She reached out, fingers trembling, and dialed the last number she remembered. Thembika. That phone call saved her life. Thembika got there just in time. She found Zikhona lying in a pool of blood, half conscious, clutching her stomach with one hand, her phone with the other. She was ghost white, her lips dry, her breathing shallow. She didn't speak, she couldn't. Thembika screamed, lifted her, got her into the car. She drove like a madwoman, skipping red lights, praying aloud the whole way. At the hospital, Zikhona flatlined. They pulled her into emergency surgery. She lost the baby. Her womb was too damaged to save. When Zikhona woke up, everything felt cold. The walls. The sheets. The air. The doctors told her the truth gently. "We had to perform a hysterectomy. You've lost a lot of blood, but you're going to make it." But Zikhona didn't feel like she had made it. She had lost her child. Her body. Her dignity. And the man who did it. He wasn't even there. Thabo never came. Not during recovery. Not after she was discharged. Not when she was transferred to Thembika's hometown in the Eastern Cape to stay with Thembika's mother, a retired teacher who took Zikhona in like her own daughter. Instead, Thabo was back in Joburg. And furious. He came home the next day and found blood on the tiles. He looked for her. Called her phone off. Drove to her parents' home, no one knew anything. Called her sister, who shouted, "If you ever speak to us again, we are calling the police." That's when it sank in. She had left him. And something snapped inside Thabo. Because in his mind, Zikhona wasn't just his wife. She was his possession. His reflection. His mirror. She was supposed to stay. That was the deal. He started pacing through the flat like a lion in a cage. Went through her things. Burnt her journals. Deleted her photos. Smashed her perfume bottles. Drank a whole bottle of vodka straight. He remembered what his father used to say when his mother cried. "A woman is like a child. If you don't show her fear, she'll never respect you." Thabo had learned that early. He grew up watching fists replace conversations. His father ruled the house with rage. His mother took it silently. Until the day she left, and never came back. He swore he'd never be like her. He didn't realize he had become his father. In his delusion, Thabo convinced himself Zikhona was cheating. She had run off with the baby's real father. She was humiliating him. A respected man. He spiraled. Paranoia. Obsession. Rage. And then, one night, in a dark moment of pure spite and madness, he leaked her photos. Private. Intimate. Sacred. He had taken them when they were married, whispering, "Just for me, baby." Now, he uploaded them to anonymous websites. Screenshotted them. Tagged her old colleagues. Sent them to church groups. Her old youth choir. Captioned them. "Not so holy anymore, is she?" Zikhona was still recovering when the first message came. Her old student. A voice note. "Miss? I'm so sorry. I saw something online, people are posting your pictures." She opened Facebook. Her heart dropped. They were everywhere. Dozens of them. Some blurred. Some cropped. Most not. Her inbox exploded. "Is this you? How could you? You're disgusting." People sent Bible verses. Others just sent laughing emojis. Her old church group removed her. Her alma mater alumni blocked her. The school she taught at issued a statement saying they were shocked and appalled. She sat on the floor of her new bedroom, sobbing, then screaming, then quiet. That night, she wrote a note, folded it, took every pain pill she could find, and waited to fade away. Thembeka's mother found her just in time. Again. She wasn't breathing properly. Her eyes rolled back. Her pulse was thin. Another ambulance. Another emergency. Another hospital. Zikhona was slipping. And then, something happened. She opened her eyes. But it wasn't a hospital room. It was light. Everywhere. Soft. Warm. Peaceful. She stood in a long white dress, barefoot, her arms clean, her womb whole. And then she saw him. Not in full form, but in presence. She couldn't see his face, but she knew who it was. Jesus. Not church Jesus. Not guilt-trip Jesus. But Jesus. He said nothing for a long time. Then finally, he spoke. "You are not what they did to you." Zikhona dropped to her knees. "I'm broken. I make broken things whole. I have no womb. But you still have life. They all saw me. I never stopped seeing you." She wept. And he held her. He showed her a baby, whole, smiling, surrounded by light. "Your child is with me." He showed her a book. With her name on it. Pages turning. "Not finished yet. Your story isn't over." Then, she woke up. This time, it wasn't like the last. She didn't wake up crying. She woke up alive. Peace washed over her like a wave. She got out of bed. Walked to the mirror. Looked at herself, really looked. "I'm still here," she whispered. Over the next few months, she rebuilt. Slowly. Painfully. But surely. She deleted her old social media. Changed her phone number. Started seeing a trauma counselor. She prayed every morning. Read psalms aloud. Ate breakfast outside in the sun. She journaled. Drew. Walked. For the first time in years, she heard herself think. And her thoughts were gentle. Meanwhile, Thabo was unraveling. He lost contracts. Lost weight. Began drinking more. People started avoiding him. A few brave men confronted him. "You did that to your wife." "Yo, bro." He laughed it off at first. But the shame began to eat at him. He saw her pictures going viral, and instead of satisfaction, he felt panic. She hadn't responded. Hadn't come crawling back. Hadn't even called him. Where was she? Why wasn't she broken? He heard from a mutual acquaintance that she was somewhere in the Eastern Cape. He snapped. Bought a gun. Rented a car. Packed his things. And started driving. Zikhona, meanwhile, had started teaching again. A small rural school. Nothing fancy. She used a different surname. The kids loved her. The staff called her a Memzi. On weekends, she helped Thembika run a church outreach program for women. That's where she met Pastor Langa. He was different. Not flashy. Not smooth. Widower. Father of twin girls. His wife died during childbirth. He spoke with quiet strength. One day, during an outreach, they were assigned to speak back to back. She talked about surviving abuse. He talked about grief. They both cried. Afterward, he offered to walk her to the taxi. I'm not trying anything, he laughed nervously. I just think it's important to walk next to people like you. She nodded. That was the beginning. They didn't rush. She told him the truth early on. About Thabo. The abuse. The photos. The baby. The suicide attempt. He didn't flinch. He just held her hand and said, I see you. The day Thabo arrived in town, Zikhona was doing lesson prep at school. He parked outside in the heat. Waited. Watched. She came out. Got in her car. He followed her. He had the gun in the glove compartment. He was sweating. Talking to himself. She ruined my life, she doesn't get to walk away happy. As she drove through traffic, he tried to keep up. She was singing to the radio, unaware. Thabo got impatient. Tried to overtake a taxi on a blind turn. And drove straight into oncoming traffic. The impact was immediate. Metal. Screams. Glass. He died on the spot. Zikhona got home that day with no idea. Boiled water for tea. Sat down with her Bible. Then the call came. The officer was polite. Ma'am, your husband, Thabo Dube, was in an accident. Fatal. She was quiet for a long time. Then said, he was my ex. The officer hesitated. Sorry. I just thought you'd want to know. She whispered, thank you. Hung up. She walked outside. Looked up at the sky. Whispered, I forgive you. Thabo was buried in a quiet ceremony, paid for by his company. No one called Zikhona. No one expected her to attend. She didn't. But she mourned. Not for the man he became, but for the little boy he once was. The one who hid under beds while his father beat his mother. The one who thought control was love. The one who believed pain was power. Hurting people hurt people, her pastor once told her. Zikhona didn't excuse him. But she forgave him. Because she refused to carry him any further into her future. Langa proposed 6 months later. Not with a speech or a fancy ring. Just a quiet afternoon, the twins asleep, a candle flickering on the table. He reached across the plates and held her hand. Zikhona, he said. I want to serve God with you. Build with you. Love with you. All of it. Marry me? She didn't cry. She nodded. Because she had peace. The wedding was small. Family. Close friends. Thembika stood beside her, in yellow. The twins scattered petals. The guests clapped when she walked down the aisle. And the man waiting at the altar didn't just smile, he wept. Zikhona became more than a wife that day. She became a mother. Not by biology, but by choice. She learned to braid little girl hair, to pack lunch boxes, to say no gently and I love you often. She taught them how to pray, how to listen, how to speak up, and how to spot a boy who talks sweet, but whose heart is dark. You see that? That's manipulation. Stay far. That feeling in your stomach? That's a red flag. Don't ignore it. If someone raises their voice at you once, they'll do it again. You can fix someone who doesn't want help. Langa supported her every step of the way. He called her Mama Z even before the kids did. And when she finally opened Konaisa, her non-profit for women who survived abuse, he was the first donor. First volunteer. First cheerleader. Konaisa grew quickly. First, it was a small WhatsApp group. Then, weekly support meetups. Then shelter partnerships, trauma counselors, legal aid. Zikhona spoke at churches, schools, radio stations. She told her story boldly. Yes, I was the woman in the pictures. Yes, I almost died. Yes, I thought God had forgotten me. But look at me now. She wasn't trying to be a hero. She just refused to be silent anymore. Because if she could help one girl leave earlier than she did, one woman skip the wedding and listen to the warning, then the pain had purpose. One night, after a long outreach event, Zikhona stood in front of her bedroom mirror. She wasn't the same girl who met Thabo in Durban. She wasn't the girl who covered bruises with makeup, or who checked her phone every hour in fear, or who believed her worth ended with her womb. She was healed. As she turned off the light, Langa stirred in bed. "You okay, love?" he asked, his voice thick with sleep. Zikhona climbed in beside him. "I'm good," she said. "I'm home."